What's going on, guys? It's Lewis at That Convention Guy Collectibles. I'm at Awesome Con in Washington, D.C. It has been a little bit of a disaster so far. I took a flight at 8 o'clock this morning, and my luggage containing all my items for the convention were not on that plane. For whatever reason, they got put on another plane. And so I was at the airport till about noon. Luckily, my bag arrived. It literally contained every item that I was going to get signed today, and my pens and things like that. So literally just had to sit there and wait for it. First time my bags have ever been lost or delayed or whatever at the airport. And of course, it's a day of a convention where I'm only here for less than 24 hours. I got here Saturday morning. I'm leaving Sunday even earlier. Convention's only a few hours long. Today, normally I come for 3 days. Instead, I did it one day. Wanted to come meet Andy Serkis. I have like 12 items to get signed. So just picked up my ticket in a very long line, and now I'm heading to the floor. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. And I just got back from Awesome Con in Washington, D.C. And first, let me start off with, it was probably the worst flying experience I've ever had. I was going up Saturday morning, going to the convention all day Saturday, really just to see Andy Serkis. And then I was coming back Sunday morning. And when I say coming back, I mean like my flight was at 7 o'clock in the morning. So starting with Saturday, I get to Washington, D.C., and one of my 2 suitcases is missing. And so I brought a small little duffel bag with one change of clothes and a few little items, but my main suitcase was all of my items for the convention, and that was the one that was missing. So I got in at about 9 o'clock or 8:30, something like that, and my bag was missing till about noon, which again was all of my convention items, so I literally had nothing I could do. So I basically sat at the airport for 3 hours waiting for my bag to show up. So I go to the convention. Andy Serkis is not at his table signing at that moment. He wasn't going to be back till 2:30, and he had photo ops at 3. So I was like, that's a really small window. Luckily, I had a skip the line pass, the only one I had, and I used it for him. Got some crew to help me with all the signatures. And, I spent a lot of time preparing my items and things, using a couple of the Weta art prints, as well as some of the art prints that come with the Masters Collection statues, like the Gollum statue in the Dead Marshes. And I had a couple small little quotes, things like, don't follow the lights, and Unfortunately, no quotes allowed, which was really unfortunate because, again, they don't know this and it's not their responsibility, of course, but I literally went there just to meet him. I didn't bring any items for anybody else. I had a few items that I had gotten signed at Tampa last year that didn't get authenticated because there was no authenticator there. So they were signing at this convention, so I brought them to get authenticated. But the only items I was having signed were Andy Serkis items. So I paid for convention tickets, flight, hotel, and 12 autograph tickets. So, I mean, not to put a dollar amount, but it was significant. And to get no quotes, and I understand there was a long line, and, that's what they're thinking. It's like, hey, we got to get through the line and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. To me, sometimes I feel like there needs to be exceptions, and I know they say, well, if you do it for one, you have to do it for all. No, I think if somebody walks up with one item, like a traditional Lord of the Rings poster, I think just putting your name in Gollum is fine. If somebody came up with something really special, maybe take care of them. But if they came up with one item, I understand. But I came up with 12. I spent a lot of money. And not all 12 had quotes I asked for. I think only 3 of them. And again, they were small. Like, don't look at the light. So we're talking 5 words. I mean, how long does it take to write 5 words? So, on one hand, I could understand the need to move the line along because there were a lot of people in his line. But at the same time, I feel like, man, like, it's a little disappointing. It's a little disappointing that they just make a blanket rule rather than treating the situation. And again, like I said, I'm bringing in art prints and things that are more unique, more special than just your standard $10 movie poster. Nothing against those. I had those too, but I just felt like, man, it would have been nice to have gotten the quotes. I spent time, thinking about the items and what I wanted. But anyway, moving on. Sunday, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the airport by 5:30 for a 7 o'clock flight. And at 6:30, they say it's going to be 8 o'clock flight. And at 7:30, they say it's going to be a noon flight. And I'm not going to go into each time, but it got changed about 12 times to about 8:30 p.m. And then it got canceled. Yeah, that was how I spent my Father's Day at the airport, Washington Dulles Airport. And I got there at 5:30 a.m. And I finally got home at 1 a.m. Monday morning. That is how long I was at the airport dealing with stuff. So, and I look back at this trip, and there was so many things. Even when I finally got on the plane, we got on a plane, and then they deplaned us because something else had gone wrong with the plane. And then we got on the plane, and we sat in the plane for an hour before we took off because they didn't get the gas receipt. And then when they did get the gas receipt at about 45 minutes, they got the wrong gas receipt. So we had to wait again. And then when we landed, there was too much traffic in Atlanta airport. Well, hello. If there's traffic cars, there should be traffic planes. It's the busiest airport in the world, of course. So we sat on the plane for 1 hour, just sitting there waiting for a gate so that we could get off the plane. It was pretty much one thing after the other. If anything could go wrong, it did go wrong. It was just very, very frustrating. And I really tried to keep my cool and all that because what can you do, But I don't know. I just don't understand the airline industry. Maybe somebody that's out there can fill me in. But, they had somebody fly in from Atlanta just to come see what the problem was on the plane that was in Washington, D.C. And my first thought is, there's no one in Washington, D.C. that can fix a plane? Doesn't that seem strange to anybody else? And then my second thought was, if they're bringing somebody from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., why not have him fly on a plane that can fly out of there? And then that way we could all leave. So that didn't make any sense to me either. And then once he realized what it was, then they had to get parts from Atlanta to fix it. So we're waiting and waiting. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, enough rattling, enough venting. It was seriously probably one of the worst experiences all around. The convention was great. It was a little, I think because I already had to deal with the lost luggage and I felt rushed and I wasn't there to really enjoy the convention. It felt crowded. Of course, it was Saturday, so the busiest day. It was just crowded. Things felt a little bit more cramped than a lot of conventions I go to. They had a lot of art. It was probably double, if not triple, what I normally see at conventions. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, thought I'd share my haul with you, show you guys what I got, so you can see what I was getting worked on this week. All of this stuff was from my private collection. I did not get anything to resell. So anyway, let's get to it. So the first one, this is a trio pack, and it was already signed by Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, so I just got Andy Serkis there in the middle. So that's one. I got the Weta Mini Epic. Another Weta Mini Epic. Had him sign this one in white. I thought the blue would just clash, so went with the white on that one. That looks pretty good. A couple more figures. The Two Towers, Gollum. So there's 4 items already. Again, no quotes. The Smeagol figure from The Return of the King. And then these are some of the items that will be available on the website. This is actually not this one. These are some of the things that I had gotten signed at a different convention and I took there to get authenticated. And this is a Himiko Toga, the fig pin, or the pop pin, I should say, not fig pin. Fig pins are small. Put that over here. And then I got some pops. Midnight. And one of these is for my personal collection, and then one of them will be for sale. I just don't know which one. I got a Himiko Toga. All right. So that's that. Then I got a couple disc plates. Oh, you know what? Let me show you this one while I have it close by. The Smeagol Funko Pop. Okay. All right. A couple disc plates that I just love these. Signed from My Hero Academia. That is pretty awesome with Dobby. Pretty awesome. And it says, "Be the will of the hero killer." And this will be available on the website. And of course, JSA authenticated. That guy's always really cool. He likes all the different displays that I bring. An Himiko Toga signed. This will be available on the website as well. And it says, "I just want to love, live, and die my way." Signed by Leah Clark. JSA authenticated. And then we have one more Dobby. "Great souls suffer in silence." Just love the look of that. Very cool. All right. So that's all of the extra stuff that I brought. But let's get back to the Andy Serkis Gollum stuff. So in here, my Masters collections. So this one, I think it came up pretty good. And again, I had hoped for a nice quote on this, but nothing. But I still think it looks pretty awesome. And then this one from the Dead Marshes. Now, I will get this signed by Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, Frodo and Sam. They were at the convention, so I could have done it. But it was just so crowded and their lines were pretty long. I was there at like 1 o'clock and they were gone till 5:30 because of all the photo ops and stuff. Speaking of which, I did get a photo with the 3 of them. And I didn't want to wait that long. So I'm going to be seeing them again at different conventions. I've seen them a bunch of times, so I'll just bring that back with me when it's the next one. All right, so we have those, and then the poster tube. And what I was able to do is just kind of sneak all these things in here for transportation purposes. Uh-oh. If you can't get them out, it's not very clever. Oh, wait. Okay, so first things first, the 2 Weta art prints. Riddles in the Dark. Again, I had a whole nice quote there. Just to get it done. So that's one. And then the second one, this is what I'm going to do as a cast piece and just get different signatures on it, is the, what is this one called? I don't even remember what it's called. I think it's called An Unexpected Journey. No, I don't know what it's called. There might be a name to this one. I don't know. You guys can tell me. But yeah, so there is the signature right there. And at Fanboy Knoxville, coming up in about 3 weeks, I'm going to see a few more people, including Dwalin, the dwarf. So I'm going to have him sign this. And there's a few more people, so I'll get that signed. Then I got this one signed. And this is another cast piece. This is actually 3 different posters for the different movies. And I have Andy Serkis sign. I don't know if you can see that signature very well. There it is. So yeah. And same thing, I'm going to be seeing Dwalin pretty soon. So I'll either have him sign this one or a different one. I'm going to be seeing Azog in a couple weeks, so I'll have him sign. And there's 3 different posters, so I'm not sure which ones I'll get signed, but stay tuned for another video. And then the last thing is my big poster. And this one I had actually already had framed. Actually unframed it. Is that the right way? Yeah. Took it out of the frame just so I could get it signed. By Andy Serkis, because again, he's my favorite character, so it was worth it to me, and luckily it didn't. There we go, there's a signature right there, right at the top. Now this is a poster that I am going to do as a cast poster, even though it's a fellowship poster. I'm going to be seeing Gimli in about 3 weeks at Fanboy Knoxville, as well as Eowyn and Haldir and Sauron and Gothmog and Lurtz and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I took it out of the frame, because I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have about 4 or 5 more signatures on it in about 2 weeks. So anyway, that is my haul. Was it worth it if I didn't have all the airport issues? Probably. again, just a little disappointing that I couldn't get the quotes that I wanted. But all in all, he was super nice. I told him what a big fan I was. He appreciated that, you know, that kind of stuff. But it was a different convention for me. Normally I go for all the days. I have a lot of different people to meet, a lot of different autographs to get. And then I usually do some shopping or actually just browsing. I almost never buy anything because there's nothing I really need or want. This time was, you know, a lot more focused. It was one person. None of the other conventions that I'm going to he's going to be at, so I really had to take advantage of this one. It was a lot of stress trying to figure out how I'm going to hold 12 items that have been signed with paint pen. And for those of you who know, they can't touch. They'll smear. So you have to let it dry for a few minutes, and that's hard to do when you have 2 hands and 12 items, especially when art prints and posters and things that are really big. Luckily, I had some of the convention worker help me and put it on another table and let them dry that way, so they all managed to come home safe and sound. But yeah, it was a little different. It felt different, and I don't know if that's because the airline lost my luggage and it started the day off like that, so I don't know. But all in all, my items got done. Like I said, I'm a big fan of his, and I've wanted to get these pieces done. And while they're not done exactly how I would have loved, they're still done, and they came out pretty well. So, again, I will be going to Fanboy Knoxville in a couple weeks. If you need anything signed, hit me up on the website or my email, and you know, get something done for you. I'm about to see, like I said, Gimli, Eowyn, Haldir, Lurtz, Gothmog, the Night King, Sauron. Oh, and the Hobbits. The Hobbits are going to be there too. And then Pittsburgh Comic Con, or Steel City Comic Con's coming in August, and Andy Serkis is going to be there for one day. And so I may get another poster signed. Who knows? I may get a couple things for the website. By then, I will have moved into the new space, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm looking at. Yeah, I have a bunch of things still to get signed. Let me turn you around here. Those are just my convention items to get signed. All Lord of the Rings stuff. There's my Sauron print over there. I'm going to get that signed. Yeah, I'm going to take that out of the frame, the Treebeard Master Collection print. It's already signed by the 2 Hobbits. I'm going to get it signed by Gimli, who also played Treebeard. Again, if you're interested, you big Lord of the Rings fan like me, and you want to get something done, you're like, oh man, you know, like I wish I could do it, but I can't go to the convention. Hit me up. We got a couple weeks left before, you know, so you can send in your items if you want to get it done. Or if you want a display done, a Funko Pop or something like that, or you see something that I have that you're like, hey, are you going to sell that? I'd love to, you know, buy that off you and have you get these signatures and then sell it all together. Either way. So, well, guys, thank you for watching and listening to me rant about the horrible, horrible experience and the horrible, horrible Father's Day that I spent at the airport. Didn't get to see my kids at all. When I planned this trip, my anniversary was Friday, and then Father's Day was Sunday. So I went literally for one day, and I was taking an early flight so I could come back before my kids even woke up so that we could enjoy Father's Day and stuff. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. I haven't even seen my kids. Actually, that's not true. One of my daughters came in this morning and gave me a hug while I was sleeping. But yeah, it was probably the worst Father's Day experience I've had because I was away from them and stuck at the airport. And while there's food at the airport, let's be honest, most of it's not good and not where you want to be for 17 hours. So yeah, kind of stunk. But anyway, thank you guys for watching another video. Sorry for all the ranting and all that kind of good stuff. Appreciate you. If you haven't already done so, like the channel, like the page, like the video, like everything, you know, be happy, be merry, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see you next time, guys. Couple weeks. Oh, actually, I should be closing on the house this upcoming week. Fingers crossed that it all goes through this time, and moving probably the following week, so the beginning of July. And I'll show you guys the new space as it will be empty, and then I'll show you as we put it all together. So till then, thanks for watching, guys.